top three things are probably obvious to everybody. Interest rates are probably number one when we see what's happening with interest rates. Oil is number two, and then the ancillary effect of oil, which is really the currency market. And I'll go through each one of those. You know, if you think about it, interest rates drives everything. You know, we see it with the Fed. One of the reasons why the market is doing what it's been doing is because everybody knows that money is cheap. Well, why is money cheap? Well, because the Fed has got a dual mandate. They've got to keep the inflation at a certain level, and they've got to maintain growth. And if they're not getting any help with growth, which is what's been happening over the course of the last 8 years in a climate that has been perceived to be anti-business and entrepreneurial spirit, more than likely what you see is a situation where the Fed has to pull the full boat. And that's really what they've been doing over the course of these last 7 to 8 years. Now, you know, going on to it, crude oil, which has become a very important factor for a number of reasons. Now, the obvious reason is the input costs of energy into making everything, and we know that that's important. But the other reason, and something that very few people understand, is that out of the top 10 sovereign wealth funds, and these top 10 sovereign wealth funds total $6 trillion, and they are the largest players around the globe. 9 of them, and the other exception would be Singapore, but 9 of them come from either China or oil-producing nations. Now, the reason I bring this up is because whenever we see oil move to certain levels, this is capital that needs to be repatriated back home. It is the country's money. So whether it's Saudi Arabia, who, by the way, just issued bonds for the first time in years, or whether it's Norway, it doesn't matter. When oil drops down to levels where your national budgets start to suffer, then the sovereign wealth funds get calls for redemptions, and those calls do not care where you sell in the marketplace. It's just a question of liquidity and raising capital to repatriate. So that's the other part of it. And then, of course, the Forex component, which we all see, is the ancillary effect of that as people move from one currency into the other. And the strong dollar, which, by the way, has been acting as a bit of a headwind, will turn into a tailwind for the market over the course of the next few years.